So now we are ready and excited to start our watercolor project. You should have 2 pieces of paper that you got out of the printer, and they'll probably have a white border around them. I need you to cut that white border out and tape it together. Just like always, this overlaps. So you can see there's 2 parts of that turtle. Make sure you're lining it up with the overlap. Then what you're going to do is you're going to flip it over and you're going to scribble all over the back. You're actually going to scribble a little bit darker than what is done here. Okay, about like that, all over the back. And what this is doing is this is turning this into transfer paper. So if you look here, if I flip this over and I draw on it here, it will transfer over to there. Okay, so that's what we want to do. We want to start transferring our projects over. But there is a right way and there is a wrong way to do this. You cannot just take this down and just trace the whole thing. We are going to do this as layers. So our watercolor assignment is going to be actually a relief sculpture. Each piece is going to come out closer to us and closer to us and closer to us. So we need each piece to be drawn separately. So even though there is a mermaid here in front of the water is still a full piece. And when you look behind it, you can see that goes behind. So what I have to do, several things, and this is kind of difficult. First thing is, I need to trace it in lots of little pieces. So you can see, I've got my turtle shell, I've got different feet for my turtle, I have the head for the turtle. I have traced on them all of the value changes. Value is the difference between light and dark. Sometimes people go crazy and they try to trace each value change as its own thing. We're not doing that. The shell is one piece, all the value changes are on that shell. Now here's where it gets really confusing. If I just trace the head and I end it right here, my head is going to shrink, okay? So here you can see I didn't end it right here, I continued along the back. You can kind of see this here and there and there. I extended every single piece because eventually what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of foam and we're going to glue it onto this and then glue this underneath there so that we start to get these different layers. If I don't leave this space to put a piece of foam about that big on it, then this piece of foam is going to end up going right on the head. And then the shell is going to go way up here. I had a girl one year, like one of the first or second years that I taught this assignment, she did this beautiful Cinderella and she ended the arm exactly where the dress started. So instead of the arm having a place for the foam to go underneath it, the foam had to go on her forearm instead of on her shoulder. So instead of having her shoulder under the dress, all of a sudden the forearm was up under the dress. And she did the same thing on the head and the neck and the body. So everything got squished together and it looked like a little Tyrannosaurus Rex in a Cinderella dress, okay? We don't want to do that. We want our proportions to be accurate. So make sure that you are leaving a space, a pretty good amount of space of overlap so that our objects have a place to attach to each other. I like to say just because you put your hand in front of your face doesn't mean that your face isn't still there. So this person, they left this and I don't think they're going to come back for it. This is last year. So just because the tail is in front of the ocean doesn't mean I draw the ocean as 1, 2, 3 different pieces. You can see when I peel this back, the ocean is still there. Okay? And just because, so this thing ended there, but you see she left this whole extra piece here, so she had this place to glue it down to. Same thing if I do here. If I pick up this rock, the ocean is actually underneath it. Now it's not as important what's going on in the exact center, but we still brought all of our color over. And I'm hoping that you can get a really good idea by sacrificing this project that is what is going on here. So you're going to trace everything, you're going to leave the overlap, and you're going to make sure that you're tracing all the value changes and that you're tracing what the value changes actually are. So you're not going to turn them into left brain symbols. So in this one here, I can see somebody turning this into like just this kind of shape because it's kind of this toothy kind of edge here. Make sure you're really tracing. It's tracing. Put your pencil here, look exactly at where that line is going and follow that line. Don't make things up that are not there. okay? I had made notes, each piece separate, got it. You're going to do each piece, not each value, overlap with exclamation points, draw all the values, don't use left brain symbols, use right brain, what is actually there when you are tracing. We're going to do this all with the foreground, with the subject and with the background. So you can see here, she traced all of this. She traced her sky, she traced her moon, she traced her different mountain ranges. Everything was traced before she started painting.